No, it ain't. Okay, everyone, welcome to Joe Oriani's podcast, and my name is Joe Oriani, and this is going to be episode 6. But before I continue, please remember you can email me at joeorianipodcast@yahoo.com just to tell me to shut up, or you can Twitter on OrianiJoe3. I am also now on Instagram because I just did my famous song and just posted it, so they would have had a lot of fun with it. So anyway, I'm about to introduce somebody who I don't know too much about, other than he seems like a nice guy when I work with him. His name is Gavin. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Gavin. We'll get to that in a second. Anyway, as you seen a minute ago, and I don't know if I'm going to edit it out, all the hair under his head. I think I may just leave that. Well, I have to because it was part of the music. So he does need a haircut. Anyway, all right, Gavin. So why don't you tell me where you were born first?
So I was born in Brexville, Ohio. So it's a small little town about 20 minutes from Cleveland.
What school did you go to? What'd you do?
I
You in
went
trouble?
to no, I never got in trouble. I went to Brexville, Bromley Heights. And yeah, it's a little high. It's a high school about I think like 10 minutes away from Brexville, not too far away.
How many courses did you take?
How many courses did I take? I took
No,
quite a
what
lot.
kind of?
Oh, what kind of courses? So the funny thing is with the courses that I took, none of them actually had to do with the degree I'm going into because they never had any classes for any of that. So I took a lot of just the normal generic, courses that you take in high school. You take your mathematics, you take your English class. I took a lot of history major stuff because I was very interested in history in high school.
Yeah, I'm interested. I like World War II, things like that, the
Yeah.
Romans. But let me ask you a question. You do any activities while you were in high school?
Yes. One thing that I will say was a big part of my change because I know when you met me, I was very talkative, very outspoken, and I talk a lot. A lot of people know that about me now. But when in high school, I was super shy. But one thing that really helped me, boost up my confidence was actually doing track and field. I was a sprinter for track and field. I did the 100-meter dash, the 200, the 4x1, and the 4x2, and those were like relay races. So that was a lot of fun. I like that. That really helped me open and boost my confidence a lot because if you met me before this, I was not the most talkative person. I was actually quite shy.
Really? I do find that
Yes.
impressive. And I do have a question because we're going to talk about your next ladder in life.
Mhm.
And one of the things she had just told me just before we went on the air was she wanted to be, among other things, it's an actor. You do know you got to look into the camera, right? Don't be camera
Yes.
shy. And
Oh,
remember
yes.
what I told you, if you ever make it famous and you need a scene where a dead body, you call me. I'll be there.
Of course. Of course.
Anyway, all right. So tell me about the school you're taking. If I ain't mistaken, let me see. Oop, 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 oop. Wait. I'll cut that out. All right. Let's see. Wait. Anyway, can't find it yet. I have a lot to cut out here. And you want to be an editor, right? Okay. It says here that you went to, you're going to taking arts and sciences in media arts in Cleveland State University. Tell me about that.
So the film school that the Media and Arts School, which is our film school, it actually just opened up. Actually, not recently. I would think I was the second class year, like in the whole program. So that was also something really cool because I'm basically like a guinea pig, sort of. It's very impressive. It's a 4-story building with 3 upper floors. We don't really go on the 3 upper floors. We're on the 4th floor. and it's basically in this nice building with a bunch of cameras, bunch of like high tech equipment. We have a studio room. We have 4 editing rooms in total. We have 2 like meeting boardrooms for like when we're discussing storyboards, writing scripts, and such as that stuff. But the degree that I'm going into for it is acting and directing, and that's one of the 6 tracks that you can take while in the program. There's like a whole bunch of like hybrid ones, so like acting, directing, producing, directing. Um, what was it? The other one, camera work and edit and producing. So there's like hybrid ones, but the one I chose was acting and directing because I like to be much more in front of the camera. And you also have to learn what's going on behind the camera. So they put us in the directing one as well as an option.
It's kind of interesting because wherever I go, whatever I do, people call me an entertainer. I'm just an old guy having fun, but they say I
Right.
entertain a lot of people. That's all it is. So what
Yeah.
made you decide to go that direction? What made you decide to go to that school? When did
So
you
the
make that
fun,
decision?
it was actually kind of funny because when I was a kid, I always liked, like watching these like entertaining movies. I liked the idea of, telling other people's stories or being in those stories as a kid. But I never, I did plays when I was little. I did The Lion King. I played Simba. That was one of my most memorable roles, playing Simba from The Lion King. I don't know if I have a picture of me floating around as me as Simba, but it is out there. Um, One of the most, it's just I never really had the confidence to really do any of that stuff in high school. So I never did any other plays or anything like that. And it was kind of a weird time where I was like, I didn't really want to do what I like to do or what I love to research and like what I love to talk about. Because if you asked anyone in like school, you'd hear me go rant about like a long film or, other stuff like that. I almost went into mechanical and engineering. I almost went to engineering. That was my
Why?
original degree. I just, I felt like it wasn't something I wanted to do. It was more of something like of a convenience and money's sake, because I heard you make a lot of money from doing engineering. But it was funny, once I did track and field, which really helped me boost my confidence and really, opened me up a lot. I started to realize that engineering wasn't something I wanted to do just for the fun of it, or it was my dream to do. It was just something like a money convenience. And I didn't really like that. I didn't like that. The idea didn't settle well with me. So it was like, I think I was a junior in high school when I finally decided that I wanted to do I wanted to pursue what I really wanted to do, and was film work. So acting and directing and stuff like that. And I realized I had the confidence now to actually go out and act and just be myself and, want to take the stage and take the front, be in front of the camera basically. So I looked up a whole bunch of schools. There was another university called Kent State, but they dealt with more of like news broadcasts. So that didn't really
Mm.
fit what I wanted to do. So I ultimately saw Cleveland State, that they were developing a film program. I didn't know if it was actually happening at the time. And I remember this day, like it's like the back of my hand. Like I remember this day, it's one of my favorite days of all time. It was my first on-campus tour to Cleveland State, and they had a trivia quiz on like on this big board like in front of us. And I remember it was like a true or false question. And it was like, them asking like true or false, our new film program is going to be in 2019. Now, I had no idea if it was actually. So I was crossing my fingers, praying that it was true. And then it popped up true. And I got just so excited. I was like, this is the university I want to go to. I want to go here. I want to start following my dream, and I want to, start to learn how to act and direct, or, where the career path takes me, because there's many avenues you can take with it. Just having this degree alone, it could take you into many different aspects. I mean, if I end up acting, I end up acting. If I end up directing, I end up directing. There's 2 options for me, and I'm learning both aspects and getting to learn all the aspects of being in a film studio and all the work it takes and all the requirements you have to do and the many 20 steps you got to do. It's just a fun program overall, and I love doing it. I've loved doing it the last few years. It's kind of weird to have a little break now that I'm down here, doing my college program. So it's been a kind of a weird little break that I've had, but it's been really fun, I have to say. So that's why I personally chose to go into the path that I chose.
Okay, you
The
said
very
that when
zigzag.
you said acting, you just got to be yourself, which I personally believe an actor should just be natural, shouldn't be forced words, shouldn't be forced emotion, just have fun and do what you're supposed to do. Now I have a question. Are you gonna
Mhm.
worry about going into lighting maybe too? I know there's a lot of lighting involved, especially for a director.
Lighting. That's interesting because we didn't really have like when I first started there as a freshman at the college program, they didn't have at the film media arts school, they didn't really have lighting like classes. They taught it like with something you had to learn, but they never really had like that as like a full-time like degree. Now camera work and light work I think are sort of together in our film school. So you
Mhm.
could actually take that as a course, but you still can learn it. There are like they teach it during our classes because it is required. You have to know how to do it.
Yeah, I would imagine if you're a director, you'd have to know how the lighting is, and then you get to the editing. How do
Yeah,
you like that?
the editing stages are I think either it can be either the best part of the
Or
filming
the
process
worst?
or the worst part. Yes, we've had many fun times with filming with the editing part. Just adding in random sound effects, mixing the sounds, mixing our audio. It's fun to do it, but I will say, like when you have a certain deadline you have to meet, and you can't meet it because editing is just not going well, and then you have to do reshoots, which is another horrible part about filming. But it is fun because you get to reshoot the scenes, but it can be very tedious work. It's like, it could be like the best moment of your life or the worst moment of your life. It really can be. I remember I actually I produced a short film before I left. It actually came here like literally 2 weeks before I came to the program, and everything was going on schedule, and we had everything planned, and the shooting day came, and next thing you know, our lighting person just upped and bailed on us.
Really?
Just yeah, straight up just didn't show up to set. Nothing. He didn't show up, so I had to be lighting for the entire. I didn't know how to do any of it. I wasn't good at it, but luckily I had to play producer in lighting, and ultimately it worked out. The lighting turned out really good, I guess, for our project. We got an A on it, so I was happy. I guess I did a really good job lighting. I didn't think I did a good job, but hey, it worked out, and then editing that lighting while I was down here with some of my people on my crew. It was fun too. I didn't really get to like do it hands on because I wasn't with them editing with them, but I was on a Zoom call, so I got to see everything. I got to talk to them and tell them ways I think they could improve it or ways that they could fix it. And ultimately, the editing process was fun. Nothing went wrong. That was the good news for our project. But I've had many projects where editing can be very annoying work, but at the same time, fun.
I have a lot of trouble editing this because I'm clueless, so that's okay. But it works out in the long run. I go over and
Yeah,
over and over again and say, please take them words out. But
yeah.
yeah, now what about acting school? Have you thought about that? Well, at all?
So there is, obviously with the program, you do have a few acting bits. We do have like teachers who teach purely acting, and I think one of my teachers that I can mention right now is my absolute favorite. He's from my freshman year class, and it was sorry, his name was Mr. Suglio. Love him. He was just purely like an acting teacher. He really just focused on the craft. He focused everything in his class. He made sure that you got the steps down. Prior to the school, I had little to no acting experience. I didn't really know what was required to act. And then learning from him, learning all his tips and like just how you can like better yourself and better your techniques with acting. It's just, he did such a great job teaching us. And just from remembering, one of my favorite moments in class was when our final assessment of the acting class was that we had to get in front of a camera, and we had to do a page and a half long monologue scene. And he basically the one thing he told us was when you're picking out this, you could pick any scene from any movie or anything from a TV show, video game, movie, doesn't matter. Long as you can, it's a long monologue. Uh, just pick the one that you felt like suited yourself and was closest to you. And everyone picked the normal ones, like the most generic ones, like you have Christian Bale from The Dark Knight, or like um, Robert Downey Jr. from the Avengers Endgame with his speech to everyone. I chose to go with the most out of left field one because I just couldn't think of one that I wanted to do, but someone hadn't already done before. I really wanted to be out of the field. I want to be out of like the box, basically. So I ended up picking Syndrome from The Incredibles, and
Oh, really?
Yes, that was the scene with him and Mr. Incredible where he's first introduced in the movie. I ended up picking that scene because I just felt like, I can really try to sell the villain role, but not really be too similar to him. Because I can, I wanted to like monologue it a little bit differently. And it worked. Everyone loved it. I was the class favorite, I guess, just from doing that because I picked something so out of left field. I was nominated the unofficial class president, which I did
Really?
not expect at all. Yeah, I was laughing about that because I didn't expect it, and ultimately that really boosted my confidence. But I will say, when I was doing the actual assessment, not in front of the class, but in front of just the one camera, it was kind of scary. You're in this dark room with just a camera and like one light pointing down on you, so it's like you're like being like interrogated, and it's just everyone is silent. I'm doing my monologue, and I had to do like this, like I had to do the finger pointing, like in the movie where he throws around Mr. Incredible. So there's this footage of me floating around with me just pointing in different directions of the room, pretending like I'm throwing an imaginary person. I will say, while that was so fun to do, it was probably the weirdest thing I could have done for my film school. But it won the most points with my teacher and with my class. So I think in the end it worked out. So,
Oh, yeah, well,
that was one of my most memorable ones.
that's good to hear because most acting these days are done with a computer and you don't have an actual person or an actual adversary there and they put it all together when it's all said and
Right.
done with a computer. So I
Yep.
can't just imagine trying to stab something that ain't there or, hey, got you. They come take me
Right.
away. My next question to you is a couple types of acting, if I'm not mistaken. You have the one in the theater.
Yes.
You have what you're studying now. Are they going to teach you about theater? It's quite different, isn't it?
It is very different. I know when I did theater when I was little, it's kind of straightforward with that. With acting, it's very different because there's many different acting methods you can do. The one that we mainly learned from the film school was called the Meisner method, which Meisner was a like very old film director, and he made a book, and it's kind of like the 101 steps for being an actor. And there's many different steps you have to take with that. There's also a thing called method acting, which is an acting method that a lot of more experienced actors use. It's not recommended because it can be dangerous because you're putting yourself fully into the role, and it can cause like it could put you in painful situations, like for example, like Joaquin Phoenix. He does a lot of method acting. He literally like will lose up like 150 pounds just to play the role of a skinny person, or like gain 200 pounds. They will do that. That's for method acting, and it can be a dangerous sort of acting. But the Meisner method is a little bit safer because there are precaution steps, and it isn't as like in depth or dangerous as method acting. So it's basically like our version of with Meisner is sort of like the best way to describe it is it's a little bit lower than method acting with the extremeness, but you
Mhm.
still want to be yourself while playing the character. You don't want to fully invest yourself into the character. You still want to make sure that that you're sort of yourself and not fully embracing the character, because
Okay.
sometimes that could really hurt you.
I do have a couple more questions, if you don't mind.
Of course.
When do you finish school up?
So I finish. So this will be my last year. I'm going into my senior year, and I will be finishing next April.
And what's your plans from there?
So my plans from there, this with the DCP, I wanted to just step into and get sort of a resume going. I wanted to put my foot in the door for Disney, and there's many different avenues I want to take. I want to be in some short films after I'm done with school. That was the plan. I know I already made a lot of connections with some of my other film student friends. And I'm very excited to be in a bunch of their short films. I've already been asked to be in a few. So we're going to try to work with some short films after school, put them in some film festivals. That's really exciting. I'm very excited to be doing that because film festivals really help, put yourself out there and really network with a bunch of other people who are there watching your films. We entered one film like during my school, and
Mhm.
unfortunately they got canceled due to COVID, so it never actually was put into
Ah,
the film festival, of course. So we're gonna try again after I'm done with school. A bunch of my friends and I think like a group of 25 of us, we're gonna be working on a short film after we're done and graduated. So we can just make this short film without the restrictions of like some of the guidelines they would to follow for our films. We want to make it our film, so we're gonna be doing that. Um, and also another thing I wanted to try was with with Disney. I wanted to maybe do some character roles down here. Being some maybe some of the costumes or something like that. That was also another plan that I wanted to try. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I hope it does. If things go right and putting my foot for the door now, we're gonna see if in the end it helps out. And then I wanted to do professional internships because I know they have some professional internships for Disney as well. One dream, it's just a dream right now, but hopefully it comes to reality, is working for Lucasfilm in some facet. Because I love
Yeah,
Star Wars. That's been one of my favorite things. It's actually probably the reason why I got into movies and film in general. Watching A New Hope when I was a kid. So Lucasfilm would be the dream. That's the big end goal, to work there at some point. I would love to work there. That's the
Spielberg is
plan.
good too.
Yeah, Spielberg is good too. Yes, I love Spielberg too. I love all the movies he made as well, because I watched actually a lot of those when I was a kid too. I love the Spielberg. I love the George Lucas and Spielberg movies. Those will never be beat for me because I love those movies. But that's the plan. I want to one day work for Lucasfilm, if that's possible. But with the track I'm going right now, and getting my foot into this Disney program, and now having that on my resume is always a lot of fun, and great to know, because you never know where that might get you, having that on your resume. It might put
Okay.
someone might see that, and be like, oh, you work for Disney. That's awesome.
Now you brought up an interesting question I was not going to ask.
Mm,
You got in a Disney college program.
mm.
You want to do film. How'd you wind up giving out pizzas?
So, well, you know, to be honest, I mean, I went into the program thinking that you could pick what you wanted to do, but I think that right now at the moment they kind of just put you where for convenience. I don't know if that's true or not, but I ended up doing pizzas. I mean, prior to this, I all I did was busing. I mean, I worked at a bar and saloon. I never did anything acting wise. I believe that all hard work will pay off in the end if you put in the effort. And that's proven true so far. I ended up in the college I wanted to go into. I ended up in the DCP. I feel like serving pizzas right now is just a necessary step towards a bigger another step. And if that's how it has to be, if I have to just end up serving pizzas right now, maybe one day I become a great actor through all my hard work, and I say, oh, I worked at a place called Pizza Rizzo's and I served pizzas for a while,
You know,
and putting myself out there. It's a step I
one,
gotta take. I'll take that step.
I'm not saying what are you doing serving pizzas as putting it down, because believe it or not, you see me, I love to entertain when I'm there, so I don't really care. I do all
Right.
my entertaining there that people don't do, so I have a good time. And for me, if I was younger, that would be a good experience, getting out in front of the crowd, getting them to sing along with them, make up a song. That's a good
Right.
experience for you too, except you're too
Oh,
shy.
I know, and I never took working at Pizza Rizzo's as a step down. Actually, I think of it as a great way, like you said, to entertain people, to put on a show for everybody. It just helps with my acting. I get to be more out rambunctious and ambitious out there and talk to people, and I could do a thing called improv, for example, and make up little Muppet storylines while I'm there. When people ask me where's Gonzo, where's Rizzo at? You can make up a whole bunch of scenarios. It's actually been a lot of fun being put in this place, and getting to know more people, and sort of network with people and get to know and talk to people. One of my favorite things is talking to people and learning, how they ended up there, and what their plans are after it as well, because it's such a cool, interesting, and there's just so many interesting storylines. And then when I wrote on my film internship, how I ended up at Pizza Rizzo, and how it's really helped me with my acting and sort of like made me more confident in myself and pushing myself out there more to people. My film teacher loved it and said that that's amazing. Not everything has to be, for film, it doesn't have to be exactly the way you imagine it. You can sort of like make it and turn it into your own way, which that's why I love Pizza Rizzo. You know, it's a great job. It's, you know, great getting to talk to people. It's great being yourself. It's great to entertain people. I mean, just at the last event I did yesterday, I mean, you hear me screaming off from the top of my lungs, trying to get people to come in my line only and no one else's line, because I want people to be happy. I want to entertain. That's just ultimately the dream I wanted to do. And whether it ends up being in the film media business or working for Disney and, like, you know, costuming or something like that, or even back in a Pizza Rizzo situation, as long as I, you know, entertain people or tell people stories the way I, you know, felt I can convey them, that's just going to make me happy. So, you know,
You
that's
know,
the
I
dream,
agree
I
with you
guess.
because that's what I do. I made Pizza Rizzo's my own. I told them all kinds of stories. I get them to cheer and, you know, have a good time. And that's very, it makes me feel good. You know, it makes me feel more, because I was very shy when I was younger, just like you. So now my next question is, does school offer any kind of leads to get to when you graduate? Any kind of networking?
Yeah. So yes, actually, like while you're in the program, they offer actually like similar to like how the DCP and everything offers like little events and networking events. They offer that as well at the film program. I've attended a few of those events as well. They offer for example, I got to attend a movie be a background actor in a movie a while ago. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like an indie film, and I was like, it was a very short indie film, and they offered that you could be a background actor. I unfortunately didn't get in the movie, obviously, because, you know, it was a deleted scene, so I never actually got into it. But that was a really cool experience to be on a film set, you know, on a legit film set with legit with legit rules, and like be on, you know, be part of that. And then they offer, like, you know, I remember my one professor recently had his one of his buddies who's really big in the industry and is making his own animated series come and talk to us and give us tips about being, you know, in the animation side of, you know, film media and arts. And that was really cool getting to hear his side and everything like that. And there's also actually nearby Cleveland, because Cleveland recently is sort of becoming more like what Georgia is for film. And as you know, Georgia is where they film a lot of the movies, like the Marvel movies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Cleveland has
nobody
become sort
gets.
of that, yeah. Cleveland has actually become sort of that secondary state, like basically to Georgia, as a filming, like, you know, place, because we had the Avengers filmed in Cleveland, we had Cherry, we had the Winter Soldier, we had a few scenes coming, you know, a few scenes from that down here. So it's becoming, that's why the film school is in the dead heart of Cleveland with the Playhouse Square, because they realize that film has become such a big part of Cleveland now, that they put this school there. And now ever since the schools opened up, three to four to even five film businesses have opened up in the Cleveland area, which is really cool. So
Okay, I only have 10 minutes left on this thing, so I'm going to ask you just two questions.
sounds
When you
good.
become a producer and things like that, how's your temperament got to be?
I
Trick
will
question.
say that's no, that's a good one. To give you a short, quick answer, you have to be very, you know, controlled, because there are a lot of situations that come up that you might not expect. Just like, for example, when I was the producer on my last film and my person didn't show up, you got to be ready for a situation by situation. You know, nothing is ever going to go planned. That is what I've learned in film. Nothing ever goes planned. So you need to be ready for anything. So that's, for example, why you have to print out 20 extra copies of the script, because in the whole day that I worked on that film, we lost all 19 but one script. We lost
Yeah.
all 19 extras. Things happen, and people, you know, forget things. People forget that they're going to, you know, they forget their dates that they're supposed to arrive. So you have to constantly remind people. And, you know, sometimes you got to control that anger very well, because it can get very stressful. But just remember, you're just trying to have fun filming your movie. It's gonna work out. You may have to do some reshoots, but ultimately in the end, you're all in this together. You may have to be filming from like 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. At night, but in the end, you know, you're all in this together. So, you know, you gotta be controlled. You gotta be controlled. That's the best way to put it. You gotta be controlled and just be ready for any situation, because it will happen while filming.
Yeah, I didn't know how many people would answer that question, but I was curious. One
No,
more
that's a
question.
good one. Yes, of
One
course.
more, one more question before I sign off. Uh, Everything else to say to the people here if they listen to it? I got people
If they
listening in
listen to it.
Russia, India.
Oh man.
Nobody sends me money, but that's okay.
I think the best thing that I think that I could say, I mean, besides the whole film aspect of my personality, you know, I think man, what do I really want to say? I mean, I've basically said everything I really wanted to say, but I think the best thing is just I think ultimately the lesson to learn from me and from you, Joe, is just be yourself. Go what you want to do, what you want to do, even if sometimes you got to take the harder path. What my dad taught me was is that in life you can't take the easy road because that's just it's just not a good road to take because it's just too easy, too clean cut. That's what I almost did with engineering. At least with acting and directing, I've learned that it's a much harder and more zigzag path because things will come up, things will change, but you meet so many different people, you get to talk to so many different people. And just with my career in general, I didn't have the confidence at first to do what I wanted to do. I was shy. Didn't really want to do this because I was scared that it may end up to be nothing, and it may end up being nothing. But I'm just happy that at least that I'm trying to go for something that I feel that I'm very passionate about, which I am. I'm passionate about film, and I love talking about it with people. And then some people know me as like the Star Wars guy or as the film guy in their neighborhoods. They come to ask me all these questions about like film and Star Wars. And it just makes you happy. It just I like to talk about that stuff. I like to be in that stuff. I like to act about that stuff. It's a fun thing to do. But in the end of the day, you just got to be yourself because if I didn't have those core memories in my life, and I never got the confidence to really follow through with it, I'd be doing a major that I didn't even want to do, or it'd be sad. I wouldn't want to, I don't want to do that. So at the end of the day, I think just be yourself, taking all the lessons to heart because man, it really helps to shape yourself. It helped shape me a lot, and I have a lot of people in my life to thank. I got obviously my family, I got my parents, I got my brother, I got my school, I got my track coach, I got my teachers, I got everyone to thank because I didn't even think I'd get this far. I didn't even think I'd be working for Disney to a certain degree. I never thought I would get that far because that was just a pipeline dream I had as a kid. Working for Disney for even just this internship, even to have my name even associated with the company is just crazy in itself. So, just at the end of the day, my number one thing to say, be yourself and just, let that confidence be the forefront of your character because it really does help. That's just
Well,
what I would have to
Gavin,
say.
I want to thank you for coming on. It was
Of
a very
course.
interesting, actually. I actually enjoyed the conversation, more than you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I know. I'm glad you did. I
and
did
if
too.
anybody wants to see this again, just go to any place you get your podcast. It'll be there. If you want to donate or subscribe, that'd even be better. Keep this going. And don't forget when you were in that hat. Oh my God, you are brave. You know what
What?
hat you wear? Peter
Nope.
Rizzo's hat.
I still, you didn't see me switching on at the beginning?
Well, I did, but I didn't realize what kind of hat it was.
Oh no, it's not.
Anyway, don't take your hat off. Don't.
No, I'll put on the CSU one for you.
So anyway, I think you'll do well in whatever you do because you can enjoy it. And if anytime you enjoy a job, it's worth it.
Mhm.
It's when a job becomes a job, then and you're unhappy, then it's not a job. It's just awful and it ruins your
Right.
life. But I think you'll do well. And I wish you well in the future. And hopefully you keep in touch when you
Of
become
course.
famous. And if I'm still doing this, we'll do
I'll
them.
if I do ever
Free.
get famous, I will come back. You can be assured.
Free.
For free. No, for Joe. I'm
Well,
gonna
I
be
don't know. I don't know what actors charge these days just to say hello,
Joe
sign
for
your
you.
autograph.
Joe for you, it's free.
Yeah, I got the
You
tape to
free.
prove it.
I no.
Gavin,
You
thank
have
you
to
very much. And let everybody know tomorrow. I hope you had fun. And I hope you
Of
enjoyed
course.
the podcast. Was
I
it
did.
okay for you?
I loved it. Yeah. It's always good to refresh on the memories to say that much.
Okay.
It's always good to remember where you came from and stuff like that. So
All right. Let everybody at work know it's not painful.
no, it is not. Everyone who is at work that knows me, and I'm gonna repeat it on this one, and I'll repeat it to you tomorrow as well. Come on the podcast. It is a lot of fun.
And it'll be coming out August 2nd.
August 2nd. All right.
August
Sounds
2nd.
good. I'll keep
And
my
I will
phone.
probably see you Wednesday because you do know I am going to work for Sci-Fi.
Oh, I'll see you. Oh, okay. Then I will.
Did you know
Yeah.
that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm going to work as a seater for Sci-Fi. I can't, I'm going to do 3 days a week because I can't stay home.
I
I
gotcha.
got, I got too much
Yeah.
energy.
All right, then I'll see you Wednesday then.
Well, I'm going to walk in there and just start singing and walk on by. I got to look for Will anyway.
Gotcha,
So-
gotcha. All
So
right.
have a good one. And again,
you.
thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And I promise I'll do you justice with the editing, maybe.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, sounds good.
All right, talk to you later.
Talk to you later, Joe.